welcome. We are going to make our way through a practice that has kind of taken me through my third trimester. I'm 37 weeks at the moment, and this is the kind of movement practice that I've been doing kind of most days to keep things mobile and to build a bit of strength in the places that I need it, and just using the practice as a way to connect with yourself, to make a bit of time to be with your body, to be with your baby, and to kind of practice tuning in and trusting what's going on inside. So we'll start seated. If you're comfy sitting with your legs crossed at the moment, you could do that. If you've got any pelvic girdle pain that means that having the knees wide doesn't feel so good, you could kneel. Just find a position that's going to help you to feel kind of grounded and that you can sit tall. And then if you would like to, you could close your eyes, or just keeping the gaze soft, fixed, one point on the floor. And then inviting your hands to come into contact with your body, wherever's going to feel good for you today. So you might want to come into contact with your baby, you might want to bring a hand to the heart, you might find that there's somewhere else in the body that is calling for attention, so just bring your hands to rest wherever that is. And giving yourself a moment or two before you begin to move to just invite your attention inside. Noticing how things are for you today. You might notice things on a physical level, particular sensations. You might be aware of thoughts or feelings that are present for you right now. And seeing if we can practice just extending a gentle welcome to whatever it is that we find. It's okay. And then bringing particular awareness towards your breath without needing to breathe in any particular way. Just noticing how it feels for you today to breathe in, how it feels for you today to breathe out. And that experience might be really changing day to day and moment to moment. So every time we bring our attention towards the breath, it's a new opportunity to notice how are things right now. If it feels useful to you, you might want to experiment with a few sighing out breaths through the mouth. So breathing in through the nose and out. Just inviting that out breath to be a real opportunity to let go. Anything that you don't need to hold on to and bring into your practice today. Without making too much effort around that out breath, just a gentle sighing, releasing out breath. A lot of people find really useful during labour, so you might want to come back to that as we practice today, just allowing yourself to sigh out through the mouth, letting go, letting go. And we've all got a really different capacity for breath at the moment, so really allow your breath just to come as it needs to. You might prefer to breathe through the nose, you might enjoy that out breath through the mouth. And as we make movements that connect to the breath, really see if you can follow your own breath. So you might not be in sync with me, that's absolutely fine, but we're really trying to tap into a sense that we can be guided by what's happening inside, so we can trust the breath to take us at the speed that's right for us today. So let's make a start with some movement, and just make sure you feel comfy where you are. If you need to do any wriggling or jiggling, have a little movement side to side so you can get a sense of the ground underneath you. And then bringing one hand towards your belly, one hand towards your heart. See if you can imagine another hand resting right at the top of the head, the crown of the head, and just lengthen the head gently up towards that contact. So the spine is long, you've got lots of space for breath, the neck is long, the shoulders can relax down and the face can be soft. Great, and then resting the hands down wherever feels comfortable for you right now. We're going to take our attention all the way down into the base of the pelvis and begin to find some gentle circles. So they might start off really small and subtle. They might become bigger if that feels good in your body today. But for now, just focusing on the sense of the weight shifting. So the foundation of the body is in the pelvis and the legs. Tuning into whatever rhythm and speed helps you to connect with your own breath. Maybe the circles become bigger. And then let's change the direction of the circles. Noticing how does it feel to move in that less intuitive direction. And then coming back towards center, sitting nice and tall, lengthening up towards the crown of the head. And coming into some circles for the shoulders, so bringing the shoulders right up to the ears, letting them drop away. Right, making those even bigger, bringing the arms up and back. Making lots of space through the shoulders, the upper back, the chest. Great. And then let's drop the chin down towards the chest. Take a moment to release the weight of the head. Breathe into the back of the neck. Consciously soften the jaw. So really becoming aware if you have a tendency to hold tension in the jaw, to grind the teeth, to keep the jaw closed. Just becoming aware of that now, and as often as you can, consciously relax in that area. And then rolling one ear towards the same shoulder. Keep the shoulder relaxed down. Breathe into the side of the neck. As you next breathe out, release the weight of the head forwards again. And then over towards the other side. Those movements can be as big or as small as feels good in your body right now. You might find that there are places where the sensation is a bit stronger, so you might want to pause there, just have a little explore, see what you can find, see what changes as you breathe. Great, coming all the way back up to centre when you're ready, sitting tall. Let's change the cross of the legs so the other shin or ankle comes in front, as long as that's comfortable for you today. And then we'll take the hands out by our sides, and as you breathe in, reach all the way out and all the way up, making a big circle. As you next breathe out, bring the hands down through centre, resting at the heart. Expanding with your in-breath, gathering back to centre with your out-breath. Last breath in. Pause at the top of this in-breath. Keep breathing, but just giving yourself a chance to lengthen through the sides of the waist, lengthen through the arms, waking up all the way to the fingertip. And then gently exploring reaching from side to side. As you do this, just have an awareness of how it feels around your lower back. We don't want to be working into any strong stretching or pulling sensations at the moment, so just making sure it stays feeling comfortable and easy. Great. The next time that you reach up through the left, we'll bring the right hand to the ground. Just creep the fingertips away, softly bend the elbow. Let yourself reach again if that's comfortable for the lower back. You might prefer to keep the hand at the hip if that feels more comfortable. And then as you breathe in, coming up to centre, and as you breathe out, coming down towards the left. Breathing in to centre and out to the right. In to centre and out to the left. Coming back towards centre, releasing the hands down. Again, have a little roll through your shoulders, have a shake out through the wrists. Imagine that you could shake all the way from the shoulders down and out through the fingertips. Anything that needs to let go. Great. And then let's change the cross of the legs one more time. So we're returning to the more kind of natural feeling cross, and we'll come into some twists. So as you breathe in, we're going to take the hands up, and as you breathe out, turning the heart towards the right. It doesn't have to be a big strong movement, just move as far as you can move comfortably with the heart, focusing this twist in the upper back, so we're not thinking too much about twisting down through the belly. If it's comfortable for your neck, you could turn gently over the shoulder, but you might prefer to stay in line with the heart. Then the next time that you breathe in, let's come back up to centre, and as you breathe out, turning gently to the left, again focusing on that movement through the upper back. Coming back to centre, breathing the hands down, just pausing for a moment here, hands at your heart. Let the shoulders relax down, make contact between all 10 fingers and thumbs. And very gently, just drawing the wrists down a little bit lower, so you get a little bit of a stretch through the wrists. And then bringing the hands forwards, we're going to make some gentle fists and just circling through the wrists, moving in opposite directions. Notice how it feels side to side. It might feel quite symmetrical, it might feel quite different. And then changing the direction of the circles. Great. And then we'll bring the wrists together in front, so we're going to keep contact between the inner wrists. Turn the hands so that the palms face away from you, and then rolling back, so the hands towards each other, the wrists in contact, bringing the fingers in and continuing that circle round. So as you come up to the top, you might imagine offering out a flower, and then rolling, bringing something in, and then making that offering again. So seeing how fluid this movement can become. The elbows are involved, the shoulders are involved, the upper back is involved. And let's take a couple of rounds moving in the opposite direction. Pausing back in that original position, so wrists together. We'll bring the little fingers to touch, the thumbs to touch. If you've got quite a bump at the moment, you can rest your elbows down, nice little shelf. Relax the shoulders, relax the face. Soften through the palms and feel the connection between your hands, the wrists. And then bring the hands to rest gently on the belly. And bringing the forefingers together, the thumbs together. Allowing the palms to be soft. Imagine that you could breathe down into the palms of your hands. And sense the connection with the baby. Knowing that every breath we take, we're breathing for them. Every deep, slow breath feels very reassuring. Let's make our way from here towards all fours. It's a really good idea to be spending lots of time on all fours, especially as you progress through, to encourage the baby into the optimal position, the best position for delivery. So if we find a place where our wrists are supported under our shoulders, our knees are supported under our hips, if there's any discomfort in the wrists, you might want to bring the hands a little bit further forwards, or you could experiment with coming onto your fists, or you could come all the way down onto your forearms if that's a better option. Just finding a place where the spine can feel nice and long. Reach the tailbone back, reach the crown of the head forwards. Have a sense that you could hug your baby in towards your spine, so the weight of the baby isn't hanging on the spine. Nice and supported by your belly. Take a deep breath in, and as you breathe out, slowly rounding the spine, hugging the baby even closer. Drop your head down, and then as you breathe in, lengthening back towards a nice long, strong, supported spine. So dropping into your own breath, inhaling to find cat stretch, or exhaling to find cat stretch rather. And inhaling back to a long spine. Finding your own rhythm, really drawing in through the lower belly, the pelvic floor, and then lengthening again. Then taking the hands a little bit further forwards and the knees a little bit wider, so you've got an even bigger base. We're going to come into some circles for the hips. So as with all of these movements, they might be quite small, they might be bigger, just see what's feeling good today. Really tuning into how things are feeling for you. Allow this to be really fluid. As other movements begin to emerge, just allow the spine and the shoulders to follow the suggestion of the hips. To move in any way that helps you to find a bit more freedom and a bit more ease. And when you feel ready for something stiller, giving the wrists a bit of a break, make our way towards child's pose. Make sure your knees are nice and wide so you've got space for your belly. And depending on how the comfort levels with this are at the moment, you might want to put a blanket or a cushion under your hips. And then bringing yourself down as far as feels comfortable. So I've just got to the point where my belly's hitting the ground. I don't have a lot of space to come down, so I'm going to be supporting myself on my hands. But if it's comfortable for you to come all the way to the ground at the moment, you can do that. Or you might like to stack your fists, or use a cushion or a couple of yoga bricks or a bolster just underneath the sternum to support you here. Few nice deep breaths into the lower back. Taking your attention down towards the pelvic floor. Just using this as a place to do a few engagements through the pelvic floor just to keep that connection alive, to keep the strength, and to keep the capacity to relax through the pelvic floor as well. So the strength of the pelvic floor is really important, but so is the capacity to let go. So when you feel ready, just engaging through the whole of the hammock of the pelvic floor, a gentle squeeze and release. Keep breathing all the way through, squeezing and releasing 10 times. So squeeze and release completely. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And relax completely. Imagine the pelvic floor spreading and broadening and softening. And we'll do one longer, slower hold. So imagining that you can engage the pelvic floor all the way from the back towards the front. And holding that gently as you breathe for the next 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then relax completely. Returning back up towards all fours, we'll do a bit of work with the balance and to build a little bit of strength and support around the core of the body. So starting in all fours, nice and strong and stable. When you feel ready to, we're going to reach forward with the right hand and then bringing that hand back down. Reaching forward with the left hand and then bringing that hand back down. So focusing on staying as stable as you can through the center of the body. We want the shoulders, the hips and the spine to feel quite steady. And then from here we could work with the legs. So again, focusing on that stability at the center, taking the left leg back, nice and long. And then down towards your knee. And the right leg back, nice and strong. And really be aware of how your lower back is feeling here. We don't want to have a strong arch or dip here. We want to feel quite strong. You might want to keep working just with the legs. If you like a little bit more challenge and you're feeling strong in this today, you could work hands and legs at the same time. So right hand and left leg reaching, coming back to the ground, left hand and right leg. Doesn't need to come any higher than hip height, so that we stay nice and strong and stable at the center. Great. Let's go one more time to each side. Lovely. Then we're going to take some weight off the hands. So tuck your toes under and see how it feels for your feet and your ankles to bring your hips back. Depending on what's going on in your body at the moment, that might feel available, it might not. I've had some pain in my feet, some plantar fasciitis a couple of months ago, and doing a stretch, something like this, felt quite useful, quite painful, but quite useful at the time. But if it's not feeling good for you, you could come to any seated position that feels good. And then take your hands, interlace the fingers, stretch the arms away, bring them up towards the sky. Just give yourself a moment to really open up through the chest, get a little bit taller, and then coming down, have a little shake. Again, imagine shaking all the way from the shoulders down towards the fingertips. Lovely. And then let's come back towards all fours, and we're going to find a twist. So there are a couple of suggestions for this. If you are having any pelvic girdle pain through the kind of centre of the pelvis, the pubic symphysis, and you're not taking your legs wide at the moment, then just stay with your knees together. If it's available to you, you could choose to take the left leg out. Just do what feels best in your body. Be sensitive to how things are feeling in the pelvis. We don't want to overstretch any of those ligaments. But from whichever position you choose, when you feel ready, ground down through the right hand and then turn the heart gently towards the left. If you've got your leg extended, you'll be able to open a little bit wider and reach towards the sky. Take a breath in, and as you breathe out, coming back to center, touching the ground. Breathing in to open up, and out to find the earth. One more time. Great. Coming back to center, have a little wriggle through anything that needs to move or shift. And then we'll change sides. So maybe the right leg comes out, maybe the knee stays on the ground. When you're ready, turning the heart, reaching to the sky. Take a breath in. And as you breathe out, turning back to center, touching the earth. And one last breath, opening through the rib cage, back to the earth. Lovely. And then walking yourself back again to take the weight off the hands, maybe kneeling, maybe any other comfortable position. And giving yourself a moment again just to connect to your breath. Perhaps bringing your hands into contact with the baby. Just checking inside again to notice how things are feeling as you begin to move and to breathe a little bit more deeply. So then we'll come on up and move into a lunge. So if some extra support for your balance is useful, you might want to use a chair here. We're going to bring the left foot forwards, turn the toes out a little bit, right foot coming in at a little bit of an angle. If some support from the chair is going to be useful, make sure you're close enough to it. And then maybe the support of the chair, maybe bringing the hands towards the knees. Just begin to explore, gently coming forwards and back, not a big movement. Again, respecting the sensation through the pelvis, so not working into any strong stretch sensations in that area. It might be useful to have a cushion or a blanket underneath your back knee. If that feels useful, do grab one. Just gently working here. As you move into the first stage of labour, this rocking lunge is quite a useful movement for a lot of people to encourage the cervix to continue to open. You can do it upright, you can do it with the support of a chair, so you can relax down into it. Just giving yourself lots of space and movement for the pelvis. And from the original lunge position, if you're still there, we're going to draw our weight back a little bit, so we're supported by a back leg, nice and strong. Bring the arms up towards the sky. Take a breath in as you lift the heart, and as you breathe out, bringing the hands down towards the heart. Great. And then let's change sides. So again, use the chair if that's helpful for balance. Right foot coming forwards this time, left foot in at a bit of an angle. And just exploring how this is for you on this side. It might be a little bit different, so let yourself be interested in that. Coming back towards centre, bringing your weight back a little bit so you're nice and supported by this back leg. We'll breathe the hands up, lift the heart, and as you breathe out, bringing the hands down again towards the heart. Again, coming back to a kneeling position, have a little roll through the shoulders, have a shake out through the hands. So if you've got longer today and you have the energy, you could move into the slightly stronger strength part of this practice now. Otherwise, we'll do a little bit standing at the wall and then come back down to rest. So if you'd like to move into the strength part, just pause the video, go find a strength practice, and then come back when you're ready. If you're ready to move on, let's tuck the toes, just bringing the hands back to come up in your own time. Have a little shake out through the legs. A nice big sigh if that feels good. A wriggle and a jiggle and a shake out through the hands. Lovely. So we'll just do a couple of things at the wall. You want to find a nice bit of wall where you've got space to support yourself. I'm going to take one foot forwards, one foot slightly back. rest into the forearms, and then root into your legs. So your legs are really strong, the feet are really grounded. Great. Back leg is long and straight, front leg is bending gently, and then kind of continuing the work that we're doing a little bit with those lunges, just rocking through the pelvis, forwards and back. You might explore some circles here. And just using this as a position to stay upright, to give ourselves support, and to allow the pelvis lots of freedom of movement. So this might be a really useful place to return to, again in the first stage of labour, where we're trying to keep things relatively upright to encourage the baby down. The other thing that's really nice about this position is that we want to be feeling kind of safe and supported and secure in labour. That will keep all the right hormones flowing, and for a lot of us that might mean privacy. You might be in a situation where there are a few more people in the room than you'd like, so coming into this position you can really kind of tune them out. Close your eyes, make your own space. And then changing sides, so taking the other foot forwards, reaching back into the back heel. If you have been having cramps, especially at night, stretching through the calves is really useful. This position can be a nice way to do that. Just allow yourself to move in the ways that feel good. Trust that your body knows what to do here. Find a down dog at the wall, a nice stretch for the back of the body. So taking the hands about shoulder distance apart. I'm going to walk them gently down the wall, no lower than hip height, so we're staying at a nice big L shape. You could keep a soft bend in your knees if that helps you to reach the hips further back. We want the hips to be over the heels. And reaching the tailbone back, lengthening the crown of the head forward so the spine stays long and strong. Press into your hands, press into your feet. And take a few big breaths, maybe sighing them out through the mouth. And then slowly walk your hands up the wall. Give yourself time for your blood pressure to adjust here. Don't want to rush with lifting the head. And again, have a little shake. Lovely. Then we'll finish with a standing twist, which is a really nice way to just keep things open through the upper back, the chest. We want to find as many ways as we can to keep some space and movement up here so that we've got room to breathe as the baby kind of comes to meet our lungs. So really soften your knees, take the toes out a little bit, just let go through the arms. Imagine they could be really heavy. And then when you feel ready to, just turning the heart gently and allowing the arms to wrap. So you don't need to do anything with the arms, they just swing in response to the way that you're moving. Heart turns, knees are soft. Sometimes it feels nice to let this get a little bit bigger, letting the arms wrap really high. Sometimes it might feel good to keep it nice and slow and gentle. Great. And then winding back down. Bring your feet to a nice, stable standing position. Bring your hands to rest with your baby or anywhere else on the body that feels good right now. If it's comfortable to close the eyes, you could do that. Just scanning your attention down through the body, from the top of the head down to the feet, so that you can notice how things are for you now. And finishing at the feet, opening the eyes if they've been closed. Just taking a moment to really feel your feet on the ground. All four corners of the feet, the toes. Feel the strength in the legs, the support that they provide. Great. And when you're ready to come back down, you can find your way down to the ground, however feels comfortable for you today. And we'll finish with a little bit of massage for our feet and then some relaxation. So, as I said earlier, I had a few weeks of really sore feet. I think as my feet basically got used to having quite a lot of extra weight quite quickly. And I found then and since that really just giving the feet some love is so nice. They really appreciate it. They're working so hard right now. So see if you can find a position that helps you make contact with your feet. If it's comfortable for you to have your knees wide, you could come into a cobbler pose like this. It's a little bit trickier if you're trying to avoid taking the feet wide. So investigate. Yeah, you might find that from a kneeling position you can get a little bit of massage in that way. Just make sure your hips are high enough that things are comfortable for your ankles. If you are comfortable to be in cobbler pose, it's another nice way to kind of keep some openness through the pelvis. So just bringing the hands into contact, and there's nothing special or particular you need to do right now. Squeezing into the feet, maybe rubbing if they like that, maybe some softer touch if they prefer. Just let yourself find what feels good for the feet right now, what do they need, and give yourself that. And maybe coming up into the lower legs again. If things have been quite crampy in that area, then I really appreciate some massage and touch generally. When you feel ready for some relaxation, you could do that from a seated position. You could come to lie on your left hand side, or you can lie on your back if you're comfortable there at the moment. If you're in your third trimester, or if it's already uncomfortable to be on your back, then making sure that you've got yourself supported a little bit, so a bolster or a cushion under the upper back and the head, so you're on a bit of an incline. I'm going to stay seated. If you're resting on your left hand side, you might want a cushion under your top leg, under your head. Just use as much as you've got to make yourself as comfortable as you can be.